You've chosen your OB, your hospital, and maybe even your doula. But have you selected a pediatrician for your new baby? Where do expectant parents even begin when selecting a pediatrician? I'm Dr. Frederick Johnson, board-certified pediatrician, and today we're discussing how to choose your pediatrician. This is Preggy Pals.
Is that a plus sign?
Pink or blue?
Hospital or home birth? What type of food should I be eating?
I think I just peed myself. I'm pregnant, and I have to exercise.
What pregnancy glow?
Wait, was that a contraction?
Gotta make these pants fit. I've got kinkles.
What do you mean there's more than one?
You've got the symptoms, and now you've got the support you need for a happy 9 months. This is Preggy Pals, your pregnancy, your way.
Welcome to Preggy Pals, broadcasting from the Birth Education Center of San Diego. Preggy Pals is your online, on-the-go support group for expecting parents and those hoping to become pregnant. I'm your host, Stephanie Glover. We've covered topics for every phase of pregnancy. Visit the episode guide on our website to scroll through those topics. You can listen directly on your computer, through iTunes, or download our free apps available on the Android, iTunes, and Windows Marketplace. And be sure to check out our new network app where you can listen to all your favorite New Mommy Media shows on the go. Here's Sunny with more information about how you can get involved with Preggy Pals.
Okay, so we are planning out future episodes, and we would love to know what you guys are interested in. What are the topics that you guys want to learn more about? So you can send us an email through our website and let us know what topics are important to you. We also have a bunch of different segments that you can participate in. So one, for example, is our Pregnancy Oops segment, where you share funny things that have happened to you during your pregnancy. We also like to review apps here on Preggy Pals. So if you have an app that you use sometime during pregnancy that really helped you out, we'd love to know about that so we can talk about it as well. And let's see, what's another good one? In general, we just like to hear from you guys. So if you guys have comments about the show or a suggestion for us, you can send us an email. Another great way to reach out to us is through our voicemail, and that number is 619-866-4775. Call it, and perhaps you'll even make it on the show. We'll just take that little clip and put it right in the show. So,
all right. Thank you, Sunny.
Yeah.
Let's get to know the panelists. I'll go ahead and start with introductions. Again, my name is Stephanie Glover. I'm the host of Preggy Pals, and I'm also a trained childbirth educator. I am 33. Who cares? After 30? I have no idea. I have 2 daughters. Gretchen is 4, and she was my C-section, and Lydia is 2, and she was my VBAC. Shayla?
I'm Shayla Groves, and I'm 34. I'm a graphic designer, and I have one child, a 9-month-old son named Henry, and he was a natural hypnobirth delivered in the hospital with a midwife.
Awesome.
Okay, so I beat you guys in age. So I'm Sunny, and I'm producing today's show. I am 37. My husband is turning 40 this coming week, so that's a pretty big milestone for us. I feel like when he turns an age, I turn that age because I hang out with him all the time, so you are kind of who you hang out with. So I feel like I'm turning 40. So anyways, yeah, I've got 4 kids of my own. My oldest is 5, and then I have a 3-year-old, and I have twins that are about to turn 2.
Great.
So before we start today's show, we're going to talk about a news headline. And this is from a headline maker who is always in the news. And I kind of was back and forth on should we talk about her? Because Lord knows that other people are giving her plenty of publicity. But we're going to talk about good old Kim Kardashian and her pregnancy. So she, as of recording this episode, says she has 6 weeks to go. She says she's up 52 pounds. So she's gained 52 pounds in her pregnancy, and she's tweeting about it. And I wanted to kind of get your guys' take on this. Obviously, everyone is they're just following her around. And granted, she had the reality show, and we know a lot more about her life than most people's lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you follow all of that. So obviously people are going to be interested in her pregnancy, but she tweeted this, she talked about this, and kind of want to get your take on what she said. Okay, so she wrote this on her website. She says, I'm going to keep it real. For me, pregnancy is the worst experience of my life. LOL. I don't enjoy one moment of it, and I don't understand people who enjoy it. She went on to say, swelling, blah, blah, blah. She kind of gave some examples of it and the fact that she has to wear diapers for 2 months after she gives birth and all this stuff. She does follow it up, so disclaimer, she does follow it up at the end by saying, really, it is so worth it when you hold your precious baby in the end, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think about this? Because when I read it, I don't know. I just feel like I'm all about being real with people, but to make a claim that it's her worst experience of her life, there's a lot of I don't want to say little kids, okay, but there's a lot of people that are of childbearing age that are probably interested, God knows why, in what this woman has to say. And so, I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
I guess kind of two-sided. I mean, one, she has the opportunity. She's got like the microphone. She can say whatever and people hang on the words, right?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I guess if that was her experience, then it is what it is. We've talked offline that you and I both enjoy being pregnant. So I kind of can't understand the other side of it.
Right.
Swelling. Okay, fine. Yeah, I was swollen with my first. Yes, there are things that maybe aren't fun about it. It wasn't the worst experience. Now, if you have certain illnesses when you're pregnant, I can totally get it. But I don't know. I try not to pay too much attention to what she says. It certainly doesn't affect anything I do in my life. So, I mean, at the end of the day,
I think it all goes back to why are you getting pregnant in the first place?
If that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of us have pregnancies because we want to have children.
Right.
Sort of like the oldest person in the room has whatever you just said.
No, let's not tell my bad jokes.
But I think in her case, I think we can all agree that there might be a slight amount of narcissism.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's evident in her statement.
Yeah. And this is her second pregnancy, too. So,
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, and that's when she says at the end, I know from experience, holding your baby, it's worth it. But I feel like I don't know if people are going to take that away from it. That's the takeaway. I think people, the headline, is basically Kim Kardashian hates her pregnancies, not, pregnancy is totally worth it because I love my babies. That's not the headline. Yeah. So I guess that's my concern. Shayla, what do you think?
Oh, gosh, Kim Kardashian. Yeah, I mean, it totally wasn't my experience. I loved being pregnant, but maybe if I was in the public eye like Kim Kardashian is and everyone was seeing me gain all the weight and seeing how swollen my feet and face were, maybe it would be miserable if, I was kind of in a fishbowl and everybody was watching, but I don't know. She seems to eat up all the attention. So.
Pardon the pun.
That's why she's 52 pounds. Yeah, I know. I think sometimes you just kind of got to watch what you say a little bit. So she's, she goes, that's the danger of Twitter.
Well,
people, come on.
I mean, and I'm of a completely different mindset where I think that pregnancy and childbirth is just amazing and miraculous and a rite of passage and something that women should really celebrate and look forward to and own.
But you're in the industry.
Oh, yeah, but I'm a total,
you're a birth nerd.
I'm a hippie, naked hippie, so, I mean, but it just goes to show the different takes on it.
And then once the baby comes, she can hand it off to
a nanny.
A nanny.
Yeah, so, no poopy hands here.
We are continuing our series on how to choose your care providers. Today we will discuss how to choose your baby's pediatrician, even before your baby arrives. Joining us here in the studio is Dr. Frederick Johnson, board-certified pediatrician. Welcome to Preggy Pals, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you. Good to be back.
So expectant parents are flooded with pregnancy and childbirth information and resources, but some may not know that it's even advised to select your pediatrician before birth. So why is that? Why should you choose a doctor before you give birth?
Well, I think you spend so much time coming up with a birth plan, choosing your doula, your hospital, your obstetrician, and you also have to come up with a life plan for your baby, which means once it's born, now what?
Yeah.
And, hopefully, and no disrespect to obstetricians or anesthesiologists, but they're with you for 9 months, 10 months, and hopefully your pediatrician is with you for 18 years. So who really spends more time with you?
Right, that's true.
Right.
I didn't even know. So I did my childbirth classes, and I just did a 2-day childbirth class from the hospital that I was going to deliver at. And I didn't even know until I took that class that I was supposed to have already looked for a pediatrician. And then I freaked out.
Oh, me too.
I was like, they're like, well, who's your pediatrician? I'm like, I don't know, whoever they assign to my baby.
Well, just like Dr. Johnson said, though, I was so consumed with getting the baby out and everything about growing the baby and getting it. I was just like, okay, when it's here, I'll figure out what to do with it. I felt like maxed out. So I remember feeling very stressed. I never even knew it was a thing. So I think it's important to talk about beforehand.
I think, too, in your birth plan, if you just try and keep everything as simple as possible for you, as I tell expectant parents, there's only 2 ways a baby's going to come out.
Yeah, that's true.
It's either vaginally or by C-section. So everything else you do helps emotionally, etc. But keep it simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Now, at what point in pregnancy should you start deciding who your pediatrician is going to be? When should you be thinking about that?
I think if everything is going fine and it's a term baby, probably somewhere around 32 to 34 weeks.
Okay.
I think if you know you're going to have twins or more, then 4 weeks earlier.
Right. Now, Sunny, did you find your pediatrician in advance then? Because the class told you should?
Nope. No. They told me I should.
Right? She's a rebel.
They told me I should. And I'm with a pretty large medical care provider. So I don't know. I felt like I had enough stuff going on. I was just like, it's just going to, it's just going to work itself out. It's just going to work itself. But like you said, I was concerned about the pain in labor. That's the only thing I could really focus on. I thought, if I'm around all these people in the hospital afterward, won't I have some time to kind of figure that other stuff out? So my priority was definitely on the labor.
And how about you, Shayla?
I did choose my pediatrician in advance. I think it was maybe around my 30-week OB appointment when I went into the doctor. They asked, have you selected your pediatrician yet? And I knew that was something I needed to do, but I don't know, at 30 weeks I wasn't really thinking about it either. So as soon as they brought it up, I started kind of doing some research, and we did choose our pediatrician in advance and let the hospital know who it was so that when our son was born, they could call the pediatrician and let her know that she had any patients.
Is this your first baby that you did this with?
It is.
And so how did you come up with the criteria for this pediatrician?
Well, we live in a rural mountain town, and so there really aren't that many options. Narrows it down. So it made it a lot easier than if we were, living in a big city and we had a lot of choices. But in the town that we live in, there's really only 2 practices that are affiliated with the hospital where we delivered. So I just had those 2 practices to look at. I started by asking my friends where they took their kids and if they were happy with them, and got some good feedback that way. And honestly, my friends that were most helpful were people that worked in the medical profession. So, friends that were nurses or pharmacists, because they had a little bit of inside knowledge, I guess, about the practices and were able to kind of tell me some inside secrets, I guess. And so that was helpful. And then, from there, we met with the pediatricians in the practice that we were most interested with to make sure that we were comfortable with all of the doctors there. And then ultimately, chose the pediatrician who was our first choice. So that was how we went about it. But I'm sure, like I said, in a bigger city, it would be a more expensive process when you have a lot more options to choose from.
Well, and Dr. Johnson, how do you usually recommend that people go about finding a pediatrician?
Well, nowadays you have to be somewhat realistic and realize that insurance drives some of this. So you want to make sure it's a pediatrician who's affiliated with the hospital you're delivering in, hopefully someone on your coverage, and then that sort of shortens your list, and you can go to that list and find out the things you want to know about a pediatrician, their office hours, what happens after hours, sort of backup is there, and do they kind of emotionally fit you? Sometimes parents who are more, how can we put it, type A, may not appreciate a care provider who's kind of laid back. Right. They want them to at least appreciate that they write everything down.
Well, and you need, for me anyway, like with any care provider I choose, I need, the energy to match.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to kind of vibe with the person or it's just never going to work.
Right.
Yeah. So you mentioned something interesting about choosing a pediatrician that's affiliated with the hospital that you deliver in. Mm-hmm. Why is that important?
Well, hopefully, and there's a lot of different hospitals and coverage, but someone who will be there when you deliver, as opposed to somebody who might be covering for them, etc. If they're not on your panel, then you're going to have to find somebody who is on your panel at that hospital. I don't know if that just made sense, but
well, I actually have experience because with my first, I selected a pediatrician who was in a different hospital network than where I ended up delivering. And I remember asking her, I said, well, so what happens? Because I know you're not going to be making rounds at my delivery. And she said, you're just going to see, I guess, like the hospitalist or the pediatrician that's, in rotation. And then you just see me for that first appointment. So that's what we did. But then I ended up delivering my second at her hospital and sort of forgot about it. And she walked into my room like 2 hours after. And I was like, it's my pediatrician. And I was like, oh, yeah. That's right. You are at this hospital.
Now, one thing I can say, no matter where you deliver, somebody will see your baby. Who that is depends on the hospital.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And that's been my experience. Actually, I didn't even know until this conversation that you could have that experience where your pediatrician walks in shortly after birthing your baby. Because in, with our medical group, like it is just like what Dr. Johnson said, like people are doing rounds, so a pediatrician comes in, but it isn't until, now after I had my first child, then all my other kids just kind of filed under the same pediatrician. Right. So, but I didn't even know this was possible. This is mind boggling to me, you guys.
Whoa. Well, I mean, and it's kind of nice too, because if you end up just with some sort of circumstance where maybe you don't make it to your own hospital, or, someone will see your baby.
Right.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You just don't have the option.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And speaking as a pediatrician, it's nice for us too, because, we take care of baby 1, sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And each time you come in the room after the next delivery, it's like family.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to go through a lot of, hi, how are you? I'm so-and-so, an introduction. It's sort of like, well, what's the name?
But, isn't that your grandma's name? What a nice
Right. It is so true, though. I mean, it felt really warm and fuzzy. I mean, for a brief moment, I thought, oh, she's visiting me. How nice. Oh, wait, you work here. Because, I feel very close with
That's
with
so
my
cool, you guys.
pediatrician.
Now I'm all sad. I didn't get this experience you're talking about.
Well, and so,
You have to have another one.
the pressure.
Let's go for number 5.
Yeah.
I don't know about that
I
one.
have 5.
I know you do.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? So we had, actually, I think it came up, maybe Shayla mentioned, but meeting with pediatricians. So you are allowed then to meet with pediatricians to interview them, or can you meet
certainly.
in person, over the phone? How does that usually work?
Well, and that might be one criteria in your selection. If you ask the pediatrician or call their office and say, I'd like to meet with them before I deliver, and they say, well, we don't do that, then
Right.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the way we do it in our group is you call, you make the appointment. It's called a meet the doctor visit. There's no charge for it.
Okay.
And you get to not only talk to the parent about, again, office hours and availability, but sort of show them around the office that if you call in for advice or something, this is who you're going to be talking to. And just works out so much better. So you kind of know what you're getting yourself into, what the office even looks like. Is it well kept? Is it, quote, modern? Is it spacious? Are people nice?
Do they hand out stickers after? This is very important for my children.
And
Exactly.
fish, like a fish tank is
We
also
have a fish
helpful.
tank as well. Very important. Yeah. Now, Sunny, did you interview several?
No. I was just willing to do damage control if I didn't like the pediatrician they assigned.
Okay,
No.
so you just, after birth, then you selected one and then you just went with it?
Right. So everything was determined with my firstborn, right?
Okay,
Because
right.
after we had one, I was taking one.
Of course, yeah.
But it was in the same medical group, but I guess it wasn't actually in the hospital, though. So same medical group,
Right.
but one was, a good 30 miles away. Where I take my son for pediatrician appointments is a good 30 minutes away from the hospital I delivered at.
Mm-hmm.
So even though, again, same medical group, I maybe that's why, he didn't come in and say, welcome, twins.
Right.
Did I answer your
Yeah,
question?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking back because
Did I plan? No. That's your question.
Sunny did not plan. No, I think I met with 2, and it was the second one that I felt really comfortable with. And the first one, I think I just mortified my husband with some questions that came out of my mouth that I wasn't anticipating. And yeah, poor guy. I don't know if I should share them or not, but yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Maybe We'll save it for the next section because I think it'll be more applicable. But yeah, I just ended up feeling it more with my second interview. So then I was happy that I did take the time to meet with them. But I felt pretty rushed because we didn't do our childbirth classes until I was maybe 35 weeks pregnant. So we didn't select a pediatrician probably until like 2 weeks before we gave birth. So it was a little bit rushed, but it worked out. When we come back, we'll discuss what questions to ask when interviewing pediatricians. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Today we're discussing how to choose your pediatrician. Board-certified pediatrician Dr. Frederick Johnson is our expert. So in the first half of the show, we learned about how expectant parents can interview pediatricians, but we wanted to talk a little bit more about what questions we should ask during that meet the doctor visit. Dr. Johnson, you'd mentioned about office procedures, hours. How might those differ a little bit, and what questions should a parent ask about those?
Well, you want to try and find an office that aligns with your schedule. You know, there's a lot more people who work at home now, so maybe it's not such a big deal. But if you're working 8 to 8 and so is your husband or partner, thank you. I was looking for the right word. You want to try and find out, do they have extended hours? There's a lot more offices now that may work until 8 in the evening or on Saturdays. And does that fit your schedule better? Also, of course, if it's 2 in the morning and you have a question or you think there's something urgent, who do you call? Who do you talk to? Do you have a chance to talk to a doctor, or is it triage through nursing?
Okay.
And then office procedures, if you have a boy, do you want him circumcised in the hospital or in the office?
I feel like so many places just do that differently now, too. It's some hospitals will do it. Sometimes it's outpatient.
Sometimes it comes down to your insurance again.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Those are the kind of things you want to really kind of know. And again, you were speaking about feeling connected to that person. Does it seem like somebody who's flexible? Not everyone's going to have the same ideas about vaccinations or
breastfeeding.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And what support can they offer you if you have those questions? So I was thinking about this before I came today. I said, well, gosh, it's almost like choosing a puppy.
Okay, explain. Who's ever the cutest and fuzziest?
Well,
who doesn't bite my ankles?
Yeah. Who has the right temperament? Is it someone that you can train?
Do you want like a Chihuahua or like St. Bernard?
Yeah. And again, it depends on, do you want someone who's going to give you a lot of information? Is it somebody who can accept that you got a lot of information off the internet, right or wrong?
Right.
And how do you address that?
And Shayla, what were some important questions for you? You said that you met with some of the pediatricians in the practice.
Yeah, I did. Before I went, I sort of Googled around to see if I could find any good resources so that I wouldn't have to reinvent the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually found a great interview sheet. I think it was through Baby Center that I just downloaded, and that's what I took with me. And it covered, a lot of the basic questions that Dr. Johnson's already mentioned as far as hours and all of that. I think I also asked if the pediatrician had any subspecialties outside of pediatrics, if they had children themselves, just because I felt more comfortable if they did. And then if there were, any parenting books or other resources that they could recommend to us, that would help us if we had a sick child or just with, baby care in general. So I found that the checklists that were online were pretty comprehensive and thorough. So that was a good guide to start with. Another important question for us, just because we delivered at the community hospital. Like I said, we live in a rural mountain town, and our community hospital is only 25 beds, and it doesn't have a NICU or anything like that. So I wanted to know, if we weren't expecting any complications, but if complications did arise and our baby wasn't healthy when he was born and needed, additional care, what the protocol was for getting them to a hospital that could provide more advanced care than what our hospital was able to offer. Fortunately, we didn't have to go that route, but it was good to have that conversation with the pediatrician in advance just so that we could, plan and knew what the plan would be and wouldn't have to make those calls in the middle of a stressful situation. So those are some of the questions we asked.
Good job.
Yeah, that's awesome. one of the questions, okay, so this is where it gets a little funny for me, that I didn't realize that pediatricians saw children up to age 18.
Yep.
Because I don't remember seeing a pediatrician probably past 7. I think I just went to like a family doctor when I was younger. And so this was fascinating to me in our first interview, and I knew we were having a girl. And so I just started asking, I said, my poor husband, poor guy. But I just kind of looked at her and I said, do you do pelvic exams? And she said, well, there's some new school of thought. And my husband's now just kind of like, what? Why are we talking about like gynecological stuff? And I'm just thinking, I'm like, well, I don't know, teenager, 17 years old, I don't know. Like maybe she needs a pelvic exam. And then somehow I was just nervous and I started rambling on about like asking about birth control. Like my poor husband, and he's in denial because he's having a girl and just didn't want to hear with it. Aww. But I think it was great that I asked those questions because this doctor kind of had a little bit of attitude with me.
Really?
And perhaps I just needed to like be venting and being a little wacky to sort of see that this wasn't the right doctor for us. But yeah, I'm cutting the story a little short, but needless to say, my husband was shaking his head the whole elevator ride down. But I just didn't know that they went to age 18.
Yeah.
And they were even saying, if they want to see us in college too, like we'll take them. So that was just really interesting.
I saw
to
my
me.
pediatrician through my college years because I didn't go that often.
Yeah.
And so I was like 22, 23 years old, and we're still walking into the waiting room with the fish.
Getting your sticker after you had your
There we go.
lollipop. Well, that's smart.
Yeah.
You don't get all that stuff at an adult. Yeah. No.
But actually, Stephanie, what you did was sort of a good way of figuring out if she gave you attitude, then she might give you attitude about something else.
Yeah, of course.
If you just answered the question and then go, but let's talk about the newborn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then you might-
I think it sort of, the conversation went in a strange direction that I didn't anticipate, but I think it did give me some insight on that she wasn't the right one for us. So, okay, so let me ask now, once you're out of the hospital, when is that first pediatric appointment with the selected pediatrician?
If you go by the American Academy of Pediatric guidelines, assuming your baby's normal and at term, it's 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
That way, if there's any issues that need to be addressed earlier in terms of weight gain, feeding, pooping and peeing, you answer those sooner rather than later. There are some times when, if you suspect there's any problem, like excessive jaundice or a heart problem, you might have them come back the next day.
Yeah. Sunny, did you experience any?
I had to come back the next day with the twins. Yeah, to a different location because it was weird because I think they were born right next to a weekend or something and nothing was open, so I had to go to a different place. But they were 35-weekers. They didn't need the NICU, but they were still tiny, and I think they wanted to monitor them a little more quickly.
Which would make them also a little more prone to be jaundiced. And
Oh, they were.
Yeah, I was
At
just going
least
to say
one.
mine too, so we had to keep going in for testing too after a short stay at Children's.
So we should also mention that once the baby is born, I think almost every hospital, the standard of practice is to see them within 24 hours after birth.
I would say I think I saw pediatricians sooner than that too.
Sometimes it depends on what time of day you deliver.
Oh, that's true.
The
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah.
If
Probably
it's-
not at 2 a.m., right?
Probably not. That would be a bad sign.
Right. You don't want your baby seen at 2 a.m. So thank you for joining us today, Dr. Johnson. For more information about Dr. Johnson, as well as information about any of our panelists, visit the episode page on our website. This conversation continues for members of our Preggy Pals Club. After the show, Dr. Johnson is going to talk about pediatrician supervision in the event of a premature birth.
All right, it's time for a funny pregnancy oops story submitted by one of our listeners, actually Alicia, and she has been a parent that's been on our show as well. So Alicia writes, I am the oldest in my family, with the youngest being my 8-year-old brother. When we told my family that we were having a baby, my youngest brother got a big smile on his face and immediately put his ear up against my belly. And then my right breast, and then my left breast. We've educated him on the logistics of pregnancy and the baby since then, but it definitely made the moment unforgettable. Well, he knew that the breast had something to do with it, right, Alicia? Thanks so much for sending this in. If you guys have a funny pregnancy oops story that you would love to share with our audience, we want to hear it. So if you would like to submit for this segment, you can go to our website at newmommymedia.com and you can send us an email, or you can send a voicemail straight through our website. And you just click on that little gray banner on the side and it'll use the microphone from your own computer. You never have to pick up a phone. It's amazing what we can do with technology nowadays, right? And you can send a voicemail straight from your computer. Thanks, Alicia, and we hope to get more of these soon.
That wraps up our show for today. We appreciate you listening to Preggy Pals. Don't forget to check out our sister shows Newbies for postpartum moms during the baby's first year, Parent Savers for parents with infants and toddlers, Twin Talks for parents of multiples, and the Boob Group for moms who breastfeed. This is Preggy Pals, your pregnancy, your way.
This has been a New Mommy Media production. The information and material contained in this episode are presented for educational purposes only. Statements and opinions expressed in this episode are not necessarily those of New Mommy Media and should not be considered facts. While such information and materials are believed to be accurate, it is not intended to replace or substitute for professional medical advice or care, and should not be used for diagnosing or treating healthcare problem or disease or prescribing any medication. If you have questions or concerns regarding your physical or mental health or the health of your baby, please seek assistance from a qualified healthcare provider.
How would you like to have your own show on the New Mommy Media Network? We're expanding our lineup and looking for great content. If you're a business or organization interested in learning more about our co-branded podcasts, visit our website at newmommymedia.com. Hey, mamas. Don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording, so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there.